this is not going to be a Draven mirror match. And
Oh,
no wonder he is having a great time. He brought a very underrepresented legend to today's regional open. It's going to be Lee Sin. Unbelievable. I had no idea there was even any Lee Sins in today's event. Let's see what's going to have to
and you
go
wanted
against.
it and you getting it.
Oh, yeah. On top of that, we're getting another legend we haven't seen all day long, Sivir, coming out to play. This is going to be a wonderful matchup, but honestly, I have no idea what to expect from this Lee Sin. Have you seen any Lee Sin action in set 2?
Uh, no, no. I heard that some people wanted to make a deck out of it, but no, not at all.
I
So I'm
mean,
really curious to see what can be in there.
you know, they are some really good colors. Calm and Body. Body has access to Punch first. On top of the already buff units you have from your Lee Sin Legend ability. On top of that, you have things like Not So Fast from the Calm domain. So I see some kind of potential coming out. And Leroy, a late game Sivir. Are we looking at an
Is it
Aspirant Climb?
Aurora?
Yeah.
Aurora Silver?
I think so, right? What Sivir, what body deck runs Aspirant Climb without playing Aurora? We might have an insane game on our hands, folks. Aurora Sivir might just be what we're looking at, or just a late game Sivir in general. Things like Deadbloom Predator. And this is looking similar to what MF Aurora used to do, but I don't think this is Aurora. Or maybe it still is. Call Shot, he had a whole lot of spells. Oh man, it's just we just never seen it before, but Dodo should be bringing something rather spicy to this round 6.
Yep. All right. I'm so curious to see what Lee Sin is playing, and now Sivir got me curious too. An Aurora deck apparently.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
might just very well be an Aurora deck for sure. But either or, it's going to be a matchup we rarely ever see as we get things started with round number 6. Let's see what these players' records are. Are they XO? I think they at least have to be X1 since they're not really the highest tier. And whoa, we went a little bit down the bracket, Leroy. 2 wins and 3 ties or 3 losses. Oh man, we should have confirmed it during the intermission break. I think that has to be 3 ties. They're technically undefeated, but 203 is exactly where they find. I mean, I would imagine they wouldn't show a losing record streaming match, right? Or maybe they would. Maybe they would for the spice.
Yeah. I mean, on the first day, I don't mind having some players that are not at the top if I can see Sivir versus Lee Sin. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that as well. I'm liking these spicier matchups, of course, because
All right, it's
tomorrow
Aura. Stack deck of mobilize it's Aura every single day.
every single day. On top of that, I even caught a glimpse of a catalyst of Aeon. So I do agree with you. This is the first ever Sivir Aurora I've ever seen. Maybe the first one you guys ever seen. And speak of the card, Catalyst of Aeons will be deployed out, getting 2 more additional runes on top of the mobilize. I think he could play out an Aurora as soon as the very next turn if he has it in hand. At the minimum, though, I did see a Deadbloom Predator available to him if he does push in with his Lucian, but Lucian is able to recall back as we saw from the Lucian legend we saw earlier on. So even if he conquers, he's not going to be sticking around, so that Deadbloom Predator probably just going to be hitting the base for the time being. But Lee Sin getting the first point of this round 6. Does he want to retreat it, or does he want to leave it to try to
I think he's
benefit
going
from a
to
Dreaming
retreat it.
Tree? Yeah.
I think he's going to retreat it. The thing that I'm wondering is like, does he ready the clockwork? No. It could have been an option to conquer the other battlefield, but he does not want to give any free open to the Dead Bloom, which is good.
Yeah, you don't leave that option available for the Devlin Predator. You have to be playing a teeny bit around it. You've seen the double ramp. You have to be thinking he's going into late game. But boy, I just saw a really impactful card. The Mind Splitter was hit off the top of the deck and now available to him. That is a Sivir champion, the Sivir body champion. I'll be completely honest, I never really seen it played out, so I'm gonna have to pull it up if it ever gets played out. But trying to recycle a rune, getting the Sivir legend ability online, allowing him to get a single rune. So call shot digging through the deck. Actually, he's gonna be digging 4 deep, but you have to do one at a time. Possession will be target number 1. He's saying, wait a minute, I kind of like that mobilize. No, he does keep the possession.
Yep.
And having the
Now,
option between a call shot and a fight or flight as decision number 2. And he liked the first call shot, so might as well go for the second call shot. Those would be the 2 pickups for him off the repeated call shot. Now he has still plenty runes to work with 2 energy floating. But you know, Leroy, we haven't seen the Dazzling Aurora just yet. I'm willing to bet there is one in the deck. He just hasn't drawn it yet.
yeah. Uh, I don't see. Now I was just thinking, how do I get to this aura as fast as possible? And you could use the cold shot to dig even more. But by doing this, you delay the aura. And I don't think you want to go under 7 runes, because that would mean you don't have 9 for the next turn.
I think instead going to be deciding on playing out the Mind Splitter, seeing what is in the hand of his opponent. That's going to be a Lee Sin, a First Mate, a Dragon Rage, and a Twonk as his available options. I think Dragon Rage is very underrated. I'll be a little bit scared of that, but Twonk, one of the newest cards to Spiritforged, doesn't let him get easy conquers, so that's going to be his decision for that Mind Splitter, taking it away. And Mind Splitter, a card that hits non-units, units, every card all together. It literally reads just take out a card from your opponent's hand. Mind Splitter is such an impactful card each and every time it hits the base.
Yeah. And so now he's like, okay, my aura will be delayed, but I have something to play for now. I can respect that.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Lucian's just going to be conquering those points while getting recalled back, as we saw from previous rounds. So up to 2 points the Lee Sin goes. And he's able to add some counter buffs to these units if he wants to go ahead and pay a single energy. But playing out the Clockwork with the additional energy, and has one of your favorite cards, if I remember correctly, Adaptatron.
You remember correctly. And now you just have this pressure of the Adaptatron that's here. And if your opponent at one point decide to send aura, you can just conquer with the Adaptatron and say goodbye to that time aura.
Yeah, the Mind Splitter wishes he would have perhaps waited a turn to try to snatch out the Adaptatron, but he played it as soon as he had it anyways, because Adaptatron wasn't even in the hand when he took a look under the hood with Mind Splitter. So now having to deal with it on the board. Luckily, we did see a challenge earlier on if he's able to pick up something like that down the road, able to deal with it if it's sticking around in the base, because like you said, you don't want Adaptatron to take care of your Dazzling Auroras when they do come out. The treasure chest gonna get drawn and gonna get killed, so you do channel a rune and draw 1. And dang, he's looked through so many cards from his deck and has yet to find an Aurora.
No aura taken, no aura seen. Or maybe he's just trolling and doesn't play aura.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was leaning towards. What if he's just not running Aurora and he's just a late game Sivir with Mind Splitters, Devlin Predators? But it feels wrong. It feels like there isn't
because he would not be digging like that if it was the case.
Yeah, you're
he's
right.
Really
you're
trying
right.
to find something, and that must be Aurora.
Yeah, I think that's part of the deck idea is to increase the consistency because Aurora decks tend to be very high risk, high reward. When you see the Aurora, it feels amazing. When you don't see Aurora, you're kind of feeling like you're climbing an uphill battle. You're fighting an uphill battle, of course. So the call shots are a way to kind of mitigate the RNG of it all, and finding your dazzling Auroras a whole lot easier. So I like it. I like the idea, but Sivir gonna be coming down. He doesn't have anything else to do and passes on a turn as he scores his very first point of this game number 1. But I think Lee Sin looking good. Can he speed things up? He's already 3 points up. Most likely gonna be getting his 4th point here on the Dreaming Tree. Is it good enough though? Does he feel like he's in a decent position to keep on pushing this momentum? Or is just that single Mind Splitter Conquer going to be slowing him down?
I just realized also he forgot to ready Sivir.
Did he pay the additional costs? I thought he just played it for just the base.
No, but he tapped his use Sivir basically.
Oh, for the gold, of
Um,
course, of course. Yeah, I thought you meant the Sivir champion, but yeah, the Sivir legend. He didn't get the gold for that.
and then no, he got it, I think, because it's the one that's tapped. But the thing is, he killed the. Then he conquered the battlefield and killed the unit, and then he did not use. He did not ready the legend. Because when you kill an enemy unit with Sivir, you can ready the legend, and
Yeah.
it didn't do it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're so right on this because Sivir has 2 text lines on that legend ability. You get a gold when you spend, specifically when you recycle one of your runes, right? To pay it as a power cause. But on top of the, as you said, when one of your enemy units dies, you're able to ready her. So you have the potential of getting 2 gold tokens, maybe even more if you're sequencing things very, very accurately, allowing her to get not infinite gold, but more than 1 gold per turn feels rather strong. Adaptatron gonna get the Conqueror. I don't think there was any gear to benefit from that Conqueror anyways, but still gonna be getting that 5th point, getting up to 5. Guardian Angel gonna be keeping the Adaptatron protected. This is funny, Leroy. Adaptatron playing similarly to the orange strategy we saw in the previous round. He's really valuing keeping it safe. Do you think he just knows 100% Dazzling Aurora is around the corner?
Yeah, and even if it's not, it's okay. You can manage with the rest and leave the Adaptatron behind. It's just your security against any aura that would try to up on the board.
Oh, there it is, Leroy. We were wondering where in the world was the Dazzling Aurora, and it just got picked off the top. It looks like Dodo trying to think, do I want to go ahead and play out Dazzling Aurora? Is that the best play I can do? Because you have to consider the fact Adaptatron is looking like a quite scary card. He has Guardian Angel. You can't even challenge him. You have to do it more than once. And in this position, I don't think he has too many more kill spells other than that. So foregoes the Dazzling. Never mind. He is going for the Dazzling. Gets the gold this time. Oh no, it is the Dazzling. That's kind of crazy because it's not. Oh, no. I thought he could kill Adaptatron with that, but you just played Dazzling to get a unit from the top because it's going to go down as soon as Adaptatron conquers Dreaming Tree, right? What are we missing here?
Nothing. He just needs unit. I don't know. But he has units in hand. I don't know. Like maybe he's gonna
Yeah.
forget to conquer with the Adaptatron.
Oh,
I don't know.
I can see where there's some potential for Lee Sin. Stella Corn Herder, one of the best, if not the best newest addition to the com domain. Having maybe having some legs because you're able to take it out of the range of a single falling star. Of course, these days falling star able to target it twice or always, but rather you have to decide on it as soon as you resolve falling star. But either or, Stella Corn on itself feeling such a strong card. Each and every draw, each and every move you do, you go ahead and pick up a draw. So we'll see if that Stellarcorn able to hang out for a little bit longer, because if he's able to move back and forth on this Dreaming Tree, that should be the card advantage he's looking for, because right now I think he has a single card in hand. Not feeling comfortable about that. He does have decent good board presence so far, so is feeling a little bit happy about that, but I think he'll be feeling a whole lot happier with a couple cards in hand, of course. Now, this is where Dazzling Aurora decks get a little bit crazy. Of course, a whole lot better if he had the Aurora, but still, you're in that late game. You have a whole lot of big, tall Might units. I think he wants to try to hold the best he can because it is Aspirant Climb. Lee Sin is still 3 points away, and he's going for the Debloom. Adaptatron no longer with us, but I speak too soon. The Guardian Angel is the only thing going down. Adaptatron lives another day, Leroy.
Yeah, and here again, he did not ready his legend. He just killed something, and he didn't.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could make a difference because Sivir doesn't specify it has to be on your turn. So you ready your legend for killing an enemy unit, and then if you had something like a punch first, then you would get another gold for the following turn. So little plays like that could make a difference at the highest level. So something to keep in mind for everyone watching at home. But now throwing it over to the Lee Sin. 4 units available to him. 2 of them have, or 3 of them have the Lee Sin buff. So swinging in for a little bit more than you would usually swing in for. I think it's a total of 8. Adaptatron is a 3 as well. So 12 total might plus the 3. So 15 should be just enough to get over the total 14 might from the double Mind Splitter. The question is though, what is a single rune able to do from Sivir? Are you a little bit scared of something like Punch First? Or with Dazzling Aurora decks, you don't even think they run it?
Oh no, I'd be first. I'd be scared anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Any orange deck, I would think about it. No questions asked. This card is so strong, can fit anywhere. +5 that cannot be defied is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think so too. Even if you're just playing it as a 1 of or a 2 of, you always have to respect the punch first. But sending in 2 units to try to just clear out one of those mind splitters, of course. More importantly, you're trying to get the +1 draw. You do have a discipline at hand, but trading 2 for 1 is never what you want to do. But you have to do what you could do. Discipline and Desert Call, or is that... I actually couldn't see, but goes on the Chosen Champion game plan. Doesn't choose to accelerate it, just going to be playing it at his base value and buffing it up with a buff. And yeah, just leaving it. So you just took down 1 Mind Splitter this turn. I think this is exactly what Sivir was hoping for. Develop enough might on both of these battlefields where it makes it nearly impossible for Lee Sin to overtake. And now staging its run to try to run away with this game 1, equalize it. I didn't expect this. 6-6. Lee Sin had such an advantage early on.
Yeah, I mean that was expected, kind of. It's just like with Victor and On, where when you get one early deck and one late game, it's always the balance changes completely after a few rounds. And here, this is what we're seeing. And the misfortune, the Sivir player seems to hesitate a bit on his line of play. Like he's managing overall really well without Aurora that he just threw. And it still has to wait. What's happening? Oh yeah, repeated cold shot. Let's see what it picks up. He got a catalyst and I don't know what.
It almost
An
looks like
aurora.
a
Oh, an
rebuke for
aurora.
here. Oh no,
No, that's
another
an aurora,
Aurora.
which is really good, I guess. And then a cold shot, and I don't know what.
Might have been something like a
Now
sabotage. We might have to take a look at the. Yeah, it was a sabotage. So sabotage, and the other. What would you say was the first one? I can't take. Is that an inverted timeline?
there was a cold shot.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Doesn't have to pick one up. Already got full use of two of them. So just goes ahead and gets a sabotage and a dazzling aurora. He does have access to a third mind splitter. What can he remove from the hand? It looks like it's a Novari scout, a discipline. So he goes for the sabotage. He wishes he would have played out the mind splitter, but in this situation, he might be able to play all of them. And it is going to be the Emperor's Guide, the one that you're able to retreat your units back to base if you choose to do so. And he does have enough currently 2, 4, 6. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8. So doesn't have enough for Aurora. I think it's just a mind splitter here, right? Do you just go ahead and play it out, or do you wait till he draws a couple more cards?
No, I think that now Mind Splitter is good because you just completely dry him out of resources. So in my mind, I think I would have played it.
Okay, we'll see if the game plan ends up paying out the same way he was imagining. Goes on Adaptatron and he's able to take out the gold before it readies. Always feels good. I can see why he's main boarding Adaptatron with a lot of Spiritforged strategies revolving around the simple fact of generating some gold tokens on throughout the game state. So I think Adaptatron feeling decently good. Even with Draven decks, you're able to take out things like Spinning Axe, able to take out the gold generation from early on treasure hunters, as well as trading into and fighting the treasure hunters as well. So Adaptatron could be feeling decently good right now. More so in Lee Sin that you're able to give it that +1 might, putting it at a 4 might, 4 might breakpoint. I mean, it could make a difference, but maybe, you know, Adaptatron just doing what he can. Lee Sin doing what he can. I saw someone in chat saying, are they really 203? That is their record. We're just trying to get full confirmation if it's 3 ties or 3 losses, because I get confused how they do it over there.
Yeah. Let's see if he can retake. Oh, that's a mind control.
Oh, that's why he kept all his runes available. He's saying, you know, Adaptatron is so annoying to work. Oh, no, he goes for the Lucian. Okay, the Lucian coming in. He gets recalled back to base because of the possession. You don't get to keep it at the battlefield, but using it as an action. So possession, an excellent card in Chaos Domains. We don't get to see it too often. The only ones we see it in usually is going to be in those MF Aurora decks, which honestly, I think Sivir plays very, very similar to those MF Aurora decks. Guardian Angel going in on the Lee Sin champion. He has the option to go up to 8. And then he just has to hold, but saying, you know what? I'm already at 7. All I need is 2 points after this turn, and I will go up to 9 points to try to get the victory score on this aspirant climb game. But I don't know if he's able to get Dazzling Aurora online. That's going to be another big unit that's putting up a wall on one of these battlefields. Or what else does he have? Is that a Ride the Wind I'm seeing, or am I going crazy?
I couldn't tell, honestly. And is it GG?
Actually, I say Dazzling, but he doesn't even have enough runes to play Dazzling Aurora, right? I think I'm just counting 7 total runes, so a little bit short of that. So we would have to take a bit more look at his hand to see what his available options. And he's taking some notes down. He's trying to do some math. It's funny, I do see that. You know, the funniest thing I've ever seen in a competitive setting, these two players were attacking with some crazy amount of units. They brought out calculators, Leroy. Have you ever seen that?
Nope.
Yeah, instead of doing math in their head or doing it on a pen and paper, they just straight up brought out the calculator because I think they were in the neighborhood of like 20 to 30 might on their swings. I think it was an Aurora deck, just like we're seeing here. Two, I think it was an Aurora mirror match, which kind of got crazy, but the Mind Splitter finally hitting the board, taking the last final hope away from Lee Sin. It was just a defy. It wasn't going to be doing too much, but this is it. Can Lee Sin push and conquer? I mean, with a single card in hand, I think Sivir is going to be holding from that 8 all the way to 9 on the Dreaming Tree. I just don't see it. That's just way too much might, no?
Yeah, I really don't see how he's getting through this. Um, no, look at the
Yeah.
difference. There's
Decides to
no
go ahead
way.
and concede. Sivir
Yeah,
gonna be going up a single game in this round number 6. Well done to Sivir and bringing in something completely out of left field. No one expected a Sivir Aurora to be doing anything, and funny enough, I think Sivir is really good built in with the little miracle package, but I guess he just didn't want to play. I mean, he's playing call shots, but he doesn't want to play any low units like Ezreal, those stacked decks, the Fizzes, the Razas. So fair play to him. I think he just wanted to play something different. Just came off the back of a game one where Sivir ended up building too tall of a might presence on these battlefields for the Lee Sin. Despite being able to buff his units, just didn't have enough to overtake them. Now, second battlefield selections will be Obelisk of Power to get those runes a little bit higher, that much faster. And now on the other side for Lee Sin, he does have the Raven Bloom Conservatory as his available option. So let's see how things play out, because I think with the Obelisk of Power, if he's gonna go second, that could be a turn 1 Catalyst of Aeon, setting up a turn 3 Dazzling Aurora. So if it plays out that way, things could really get out of hand very, very fast. I'm almost wondering if the Lee Sin player wants to go second because of that, because Catalyst of Aeon's turn 1 never feels good, and Lee Sin started with a big smile, but now that smile has kind of disappeared, and he's worried. He's worried about his 203 tie streak, saying, if I lose, I'm definitely out of the top cut. Honestly, they might be out of the top cut regardless, but Lee Sin gonna be starting things off on the play. And Leroy, he does have the combo. I'm seeing a Catalyst of Aeons, and I am seeing that Dazzling Aurora enhanced. So this Sivir player, oh, maybe he didn't have the Catalyst. That was a punch first, actually.
yeah. Um, he seems to have a pretty good end starting hand, at least. Um, let's see.
Yeah, at the very least, he did have the mobilized, right? So he at least has one form of ramp, and the other form of ramp was in the Obelisk of Power. So he does have a little bit way of getting to that Dazzling Aurora just that much faster. Does it play
Yeah,
indeed that?
he will have the turn for Aurora.
Yeah, he still will have the turn 3 Aurora, like you said. And you know, I actually the question in that earlier game, does he probably run something like a punch first? I guess we got our answer right, because he does have a punch first in hand. So probably gonna come in pretty useful later on. But Lonely Poro will be able to score the first point of this game number 2. And there we have it, guys. The Stellarcorn Herder does get established onto the board for Lee Sin, able to get some early points slash early card advantage that he desperately needed in game number 1. He was looking for more cards. Stellarcorn probably going to be the unit allowing him to do that in this game too.
Yep. Uh, Now I will just use. Yeah, so no aura yet.
Yeah, just one turn shy, so goes ahead and takes advantage of playing out the Sivir champion from that chosen zone, and there we go. The unit we talked about before, generating some card advantage for Lee Sin. So pushes up, not only gets a point, but does draw the Adaptatron, and he does get played out now. So paying for Adaptatron, it doesn't feel the best, but you're kind of anticipating what's to come. You're saying, you know what, let's play Adaptatron, follow that up with a Guardian Angel just in case. Just in case there was indeed a challenge before this Dazzling Aurora. But you know, funny enough, he should retreat one of these units because Adaptatron reads when I conquer, right?
Yeah, totally. You should not play Adaptatron and leave it on the battlefield. That's for sure.
Yeah, if I remember right, it says when I conquer, you may destroy a gear. If you leave both of your units on a battlefield, you're not going to be able to get a conquer. You're able to move to a battlefield, but you don't get that quote unquote conquer that you need to destroy the Dazzling Aurora. And speaking of dazzling, it does get procced at the end of the turn. So many spells, but the first one will be one of the more impactful ones, being the Mind Splitter. So Emperor's Guide. Wait. Why would you react to that? You don't want more cards in your hand. Yeah, he took it back. We're seeing some decently good cards on the side of the Lee Sin. I'd most likely think it's going to be the Aurelia Fairvent as the chosen target for the Mind Splitter. I think the judge is saying, wait a minute, sir. I think you revealed the hidden card, so we're going to force you to do it. It is so funny, the difference. I was watching the Lurkana Regional just about a week ago. They allowed so many takebacks. You played the wrong rune in that game. It's called a little bit different, but man, Riftbound, there is no wiggle room. Any little mistake and it's going to cost you at the major level. And as we suspected, the Aurelia Fairvent is the chosen target, and he drew even an extra card, but that's still going to be the target he decided on for the Mind Splitter. So let's see what he has. You know, that could have actually been okay, because now you can a conquer with Adaptatron to kill the Dazzling, so that could have worked out either way.
Yep, and that's exactly what he is going for. Yep. I wasn't sure, but yeah, he's going to destroy the Aurora, and Sivir was not able to develop enough with it. What I'm curious is how many copies of Adaptatron are you running in your listen deck? You know, because this card is only good. I mean, mostly good against Aura, good against some other, but mostly good against Aura.
Yeah, you're totally right,
So
because he's drawn it so consistently. It almost feels like he's running a full set of Adaptatrons, if you ask me. It looks like all three might just be in his deck, at the minimum 2 cards, but trying to set up a little bit of a good defense. Has 5 points up to Dodo's 0 points. That doesn't feel too good, because you just got rid of your Dazzling Aurora. You worked so hard to get it out, and just like that, Adaptatron bringing it back to base level. You do, at the minimum, have a Mind Splitter and a Sivir champion to try to take down right now what his opponent has. Lonely Poro, quite simple enough to take down, but Ravenbloom Conservatory plus the draw you get from Lonely Poro, that could be a +2 draw for Lee Sin. So perhaps Sivir doesn't want to go ahead and do that, but you're gonna have to put points on the table eventually. One good
yeah,
card that makes it
1 point
easier.
or another, and you won't have any choice but trying to deal with this Poro. I get the idea of if I give it later, it will have less mana for to play all of it, but uh,
And he kind of played that really fast, because there was a window to react, because you could have reacted with, I saw the card was Gus. You could react before the discipline goes off, but maybe they just spoke it in person, saying, you know what, the discipline does resolve, but you do get that punch first on your Sivir champ. And let's see, I think that
Okay.
was enough for 2, right? Okay, that's a big deal. Oh no, they trade. Okay, I didn't do the math yet, so that is a trade there. And now for the same reasons we said, are we pushing in with the Mind Splitter? Because it could be, oh, that's what we were thinking. The Gust to bring back the Lonely Poro, neglecting him the draw and the draw off the Raven Bloom. And finally, Sivir gets her first point of game number
It's
2.
a really good dust.
Yeah, really good, Gus. Most likely forcing to pass as he doesn't have anything left to do. And hey, Leroy, he's actually readying his champion, unlike he was doing before. And no, I saw
Yeah.
a good card in hand. The challenge looks like he's gonna be using it now, recycling a rune and getting an additional gold. So playing this a little bit cleaner than he did in game number 1.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna
challenge.
say that looks like a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and he did not pick the Adaptatron. He's like, it's over, I won't get any aura. And if I get them, whatever.
Yeah, I think so. He's saying, you know what? Let's just go ahead and try to slow down your card draw. That's probably going to be super good for me down the road because I have plenty to work with. I have call shots. I have stacked decks. I believe that might be the only card potential he has. But last right, able to get some cards back from the grave, back from the trash, I should say. And not exactly cards, but units. When you conquer or when you hold, and that's a double last right. I don't remember what he has in the trash. Is it just a Sivir champ or did he have anything else if you remember?
No, it's just the. No, it's just the Sivir champ. I don't see any other card right now. I think Last Right is a good card in auras because sometimes they can just run out of units and that can bring them back quite easily.
Yeah, I think it is good because you eventually run out of units. We've seen it before with like MF decks. They're only running like 8 to 10 units. And at one point, you've played everything out from your deck that Dazzling Auroras are no longer getting any bit of value. So I do like this card Last Strike coming in and making a bit of a difference and changing up the gameplay loop from the very end. You're able to get some of those cards that got discarded earlier on. Things like, and man, Adaptatron has been MVP for Lee Sin. Did some work in game 1. Unfortunately, was a little bit short from the victory, but doing some decent work in this game number 2, taking down a Dazzling Aurora and now taking down the Last Ride as well, leaving the Mind Splitter hanging out alone. Because if he was able to at least conquer or hold a little bit later, that Last Ride could have done some more work because you're able to play it with the additional cost. Sivir could have come in ready if you chose to do so. With all that gold you had, it would have been pretty decently easy to get that going, but passes it on. Is this where Lee Sin tries to just hold for game? You know, the one thing about MF Aurora is that she's able to, or MF in general, is she's able to give ganking to things like that unit on the battlefield. So usually it was you very easily went from battlefield to battlefield, but Sivir has to take the long way route. You have to go to base and then to the Obelisk of Power, so it makes it a little tricky for the Sivir player.
Yeah, not the easiest, but I still think it's manageable overall.
Do you think Sivir's still looking decent, or is Lee Sin just in a good position at this point? You just need 8 points this time.
Yeah, it's. I think Sivir can still make it, but 1 or 2 top deck from Lee will seal the deal. It's on the razor's edge.
Yeah, and of course, a big, crazy card. One of the most expensive cards out of set 1. Of course, it did get a little bit of a price drop. Thank God, because a lot of people were not ready to spend $100 per card on Dead Bloom. But taking down at least the Lee Sin and doesn't have anything to say. So Adaptatron going to be holding strong, staying up to 7 points. Can he survive? Is Adaptatron going to be all he has? And wait a second, moves the Mind Splitter but has no other conquer, and Emperor's Guide gonna be moving the Adaptatron. I've never seen Emperor's Guide used as ganking. That's very impressive. That's super clean play.
Yep. Really smart play. And Adaptatron carries the win, uh, leading them to game 3. Let's go.
Yeah, and I keep saying Emperor's
Yes,
Guide, but it's
Voginski.
Emperor's Divide. Move any
Yep.
number of friendly units at a battlefield. Oh, it wasn't ganking. He just did a little shortcut. Emperor's Divide brings it back to base in the ready position, and then Adaptatron just pushes forward. He just kind of skipped around. So I was a little confused how he ganked, but he didn't literally gank, right?
No matter what they are, we are going to know which one of them is going to win or tie here, because we are leading into game 3. And let's see. Is that a Sigil of the Storm?
Okay, this could be a battlefield that benefits Lee Sin quite greatly, because the problem in a couple of the other games was his card advantage. He was just running out of cards a little bit too soon because of those Mind Splitters. I think Monastery Harana, especially in the hands of Lee Sin, is one of the easiest ways to trigger a draw each and every conquer because of your legend ability. So I think saving it to game 3 when it really matters is a smart decision. Now on the other side, Leroy, was that a sigil or was that something else? We might have to see,
Um,
but
yeah,
either
I think it was
way,
Sigil. Yeah, I think it was Sigil of the Storm.
yeah, I thought I caught a glimpse of that. Either way, though, as I was about to say, this is it, guys. One of these players are gonna be keeping, quote unquote, the undefeated dream alive. Sivir, an Aurora variant versus Lee Sin for the final game 3 of this round number 6 in today's regional open. Starting things off as best you can for Sivir, mobilize turn 1, and pretty much the best you can for Lee Sin 2. We saw how much work this Lucian champion has done throughout the entire tournament. And oh my goodness, Leroy, the 1-2 backup punch, immobilized into a Catalyst of Aeons. You can't get better than that for Sivir.
No, it's hard.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of great synergy. You have the stack decks, you have the call shots to allow you to pick up those Dazzling Auroras that much more consistently. There's only 3 out of the 40 cards in your deck, so you love filtering through 3 of them. And this is how you get around Dazzling Aurora. The sabotage coming through, but
But
unfortunately
it's
for
not
Lee Sin,
here.
it's nowhere to be found. You're so right.
And the stack deck so that you can uh, delay basically the the time of arrival of Aura. And you also know now that there's a punch first, which is like um, that it's a card that will give you some issues, some problems, but at least you know it's there, so you can play around it.
Yeah, he does know it's there, and he does indeed have the Adaptatron. Has been so beneficial for him in the previous 2 games. I think is going to be coming pretty clutch in this last game 3, of course. He looks like he's going to be playing out that treasure chest just for the draw 1. Or is that the draw 1? I always forget. Oh no, never mind. Going for the sabotage of his own. What does he want to take out? There's only 2 available targets. It's going to be the Punch First and the Guardian Angel. In this situation, I feel like the Guardian Angel feels a little bit better because that's what's saving the Adaptatron. Do you feel the same, or would you go for the other one?
Uh, no, I can. No, I can understand both.
Okay.
I think you're right. Let's not give any chance to the Adaptatron. He's the one that has been carrying the game so far. So no, you're making an excellent point. Uh, Now, what do you do from here? You're gonna, of course, use stack deck, and I don't know, just pray for Aura.
Yeah, let's see if he did indeed
Aura.
find it. That's a Possession Mind Splitter and a Last Right, it looks like. So no Dazzling Aurora so far. The big thing is in the
Keep
games that
last,
you
right?
don't draw Dazzling Aurora, can your deck still stabilize? Can your deck still do things? Because that's what ended up making MF Aurora, Misfortune Aurora, especially the ones we saw in Orlando PPG tournaments, is even in the light of not drawing your Dazzling Auroras, you feel like your game plan just didn't completely go out the window. You still felt confident enough to take down some of the more meta decks, even if you didn't have Aurora. I feel like Sivir doesn't exactly feel the same way. It looks a little bit weaker power level, relying a tiny little bit more on Aurora hits off the top. Of course, he does filter through a little bit more cards than MF did last set, but so far just having to go ahead and play out the Sivir champion from the zone and just get a little treasure chest on top of that.
Yeah. And right, he's going to buff the Lucian so that it can get a draw on the Rajana. And now the Lucian is ready and he can just go back in uh, his base and do that next turn.
And Lelu, I think it's not so much of them trying to keep the top tables away, as I'm willing to bet every single one of those top tables is a Draven mirror match, and they're saving the Draven mirror match most likely for the top 64 tomorrow. Today we had 0 Draven mirror match. Of course, round 7 coming up could make that, it could change things up. We could get our first ever Draven mirror match, but tomorrow, I think just like we had in the Kaiser meta, where it was Kaiser, Master Yi, Master Yi, we're going to see something very similar with the likes of Draven, of course. So I think it's just the Riot production team saying, you know what? We're going to have so many of those top table matches tomorrow. Let's get something a little bit more spicy. Because Leroy, these guys are saying the 3 there is a loss, so it could be. I tried to Google it. It said ties, but what do I know? Maybe they are 2 wins, 3 losses. But I'll believe they're 3 ties for now.
Yeah. I think those are ties. It would be weird if those were losses. And now the question is, are they heading for another tie? Because it seems once more that Sivir is going to develop some big monsters, but will get countered by the Adaptatron, so we'll not be able to convert all of this, and that will lead us to yet another draw.
Mm-hmm. So let's see, this game is a whole lot slower pace. Despite Sivir being on the play, just never having the Dazzling Aurora they needed. They had the perfect 1-2 channel rune acceleration, but wasn't really able to capitalize off of it. Gonna go ahead and play out a challenge, or did he discard it? No, I think he is playing out a challenge. So trying to do 4 damage to one of these units, and it should be decently good. It looks like it's resolving as there's no Defy getting played out. Just trying to pick the best target. Are we choosing the Adaptatron? And he doesn't like his choices. He's saying, wait a second. I have 8 minutes left. There's 2 points to my 0. Man, he's stressing about something. He's stressing about his hand, not liking his potential outlook on the game. He's saying, I already have 3 ties. Do I want to get another tie?
Think that I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, good.
Oh. Challenge on the Lucian. Doesn't really care about Adaptatron because he doesn't have
Yeah,
Dazzling Aurora. I still would pick. I mean, Lucian is annoying too, right? Because he conquers and comes back to base. You can never truly deal with him except with things like challenge. So I can respect that play. But watch him hit
yeah,
the Dazzling Aurora on his next draw, and he wishes he can't wait. 2, 4, 6. Okay, he has exactly 9 runes if he hits a dazzling off the top.
Yeah, but he will be able to remove the adaptatron no matter what. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right, because it does stay on the board. He doesn't have, I mean, I think I did see the Emperor's Divide, so perhaps Adaptatron could see a little bit more light going forward. Pushing on the Lonely Poro, I like the sequencing, getting the battlefield presence while you can, while you're on the battlefield for the slight moment with the Lucian, and goes ahead and gets the additional draw from Clockwork, playing that additional Calm rune, of course, and slowly but surely putting out quite a board. They don't have too much might, but the way you're maneuvering is feeling pretty good, especially considering the fact that you do have Monastery of Harana. Granted, he does have one already conquered, so most likely not going to be able to get a draw going forward on this next turn. But a lot of units does does pose a bit of a problem for Sivir, because you could only challenge one unit at a time. You're forcing her to do things like big units like a Devlin Predator. That would feel decently good right now. But funny enough, there's a punch first. Imagine a Devlin Predator going for it, but instead it's going to be a Mind Splitter going for it. And Emperor's Divide will be the response, bringing the Adaptatron nice and safe back to the base. Doesn't feel too bad. But finally, Sivir does go on the board for the first time in this game, number 3.
Yep. And now that it's on the board, let's see if the Sivir can completely overwhelm Lee Sin, which is, to be honest, likely, because now every single turn almost there's gonna be another big card that changes a lot the pace of the game.
Yeah, you know, it
And
kind of happened on the previous game. Once the Mind Splitter got pushed forward, that's when things started turning around, and the point difference so far isn't as crazy as we saw in the previous game. So Sivir not feeling all that bad about it. Just a 2-point margin between both of these players. Now the sabotage does get played out for Lee Sin. Let's see what the available targets is. Just a ride the wind of the punch first. I think both of those are pretty good, but the punch first perhaps has a little bit more oomph to it. So does decide to recycle it down to the bottom. All he has is a single ride the wind. That is not really doing anything in this situation. Yeah, you can perhaps bring the Sivir or the Mind Splitter to each other's battlefield, but if you don't draw anything from the top of your deck, you're kind of stalled out, aren't you?
yeah, and now it's up to Lee Sin to remove those big boys and girls actually from the battlefield. And he has only 7 runes to work with. Now, especially Master is hard to remove, but Sivir you would lose a rune instantly. So that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. You know, at the very minimum, he does have a punch first. I think he does have a double conquer, but he's trying to carefully plan and work around the ride the win. You have to take into account that Sivir could come in and make it a bit of a problem to try to conquer. Discipline will be before the push just to see his available options. So it does give it +2 to the Lucian. So swinging it for 5, maybe even 6 if you end up buffing it from the Lee Sin. And oh, I like that pickup. I don't think that was a pickup. That might have already been in hand, but Dragon Rage might be what you need to try to get these units out of here. But I like Dragon Rage on your 6th to 8th push a little bit better, so I wouldn't blame him to just hold a little bit tighter, see if he could just conquer on his own. And he's going to be pushing in for a total of 8 might versus a 7 right now. He's kind of baiting out the Ride the Wind, because Ride the Wind could spell disaster, but you have a punch first. So if you Ride the Wind, you have no cards left. A punch first is going to be more than enough to clean up and double kill those units and pretty much stabilize the Lee Sin going forward. Okay, does get the conquer with the clockwork. He's thinking about the adaptatron because right now you want to stay at that even point tempo. If you could get up to 6, that dragon rage could really help you close things out and go from 6, 7 up to 8 points. So gonna be getting an additional draw with the clockwork. Guardian angel gonna be be the hit off the top, and just gonna be passing the turn. And I like how they make Guardian Angel feel very special, but it is a quite the good card. But this is it, Leroy. Let's see what can he draw from the top of the deck, and it's a catalyst. It could be a draw 1 if he doesn't have 2 runes. Yeah, it will be a draw 1, so gets a fight or flight, and that is disastrous. What is he going to be doing? Fight or flight the Sivir to push back in on the clockwork? I guess that is about the best you can do, but doesn't feel too good to do so. And of course, he did have the ride the win, so going on the Monastery Hirana, taking down the clockwork. And yeah, there's almost a teeny chance for Sivir, I want to say, but there is less than a minute remaining until we go into overtime turns. I think turn 0 will be Lee Sin, because I don't think he's going to be finishing up his turn in 40 something seconds. But he doesn't really have too much potential might to push forward. He does have the chosen champion that allows him to accelerate, but first things first, punch first on Adaptatron, not knowing that he has a fight or flight. So this combat probably not going to go the exact way he was planning. And does tap 2, so fight or flight, sending Sivir back. Interesting. So going up to 6, and you do get the additional draw from the Monastery Hirana, and will be killing a gold for his troubles trying to conquer as well. Now you just able to push the clockwork, and if he's able to somehow remove the Sivir from the back line, I'm looking at the hand, I don't think there's anything that will. But this conquer up to 7 is saying if you don't draw a unit, I will be winning the game. Oh, interesting enough. He just wants to go to 6 to try to make that final push, which just makes sense because he has Dragon Rage the following turn. Yeah, with Aurelia set up, it looks pretty good. I thought Sivir on the play would be the ones taking this out ahead, but I just think with missing the Dazzling Aurora this entire game 3, spell Doom for her, Twonk coming in. Why would you stun? Okay, taking it back. This is so funny. He's trying to stun the unit without having any presence on that battlefield anyways. Is that even a valid target? I think we might have lost Leroy there. It is getting so late for him, so I wouldn't blame him to head on to bed, chat. I know everyone here is tired. We have one round left. I might be able to stick it out with you guys. But Dazzling Aurora for the first time finally does get played out. So let's see what the hit off the top is going to be. Adaptatron is still in the battlefield though. It's going to be a Deadbloom Predator, and there is an Adaptatron. I thought he was alive, but being able to play onto the Monastery Hirana, that could be exactly what he needed. But we know what's in the hand. The Dragon Rage should be enough to take down at least the Sivir, move the Deadbloom into the Sigil, and oh, interesting. So leaves the Adaptatron alone, and now forcing a double conquer. But this is his very last turn. He's saying if you take it, you take it. If you just rather go for the whole strategy, I'm going up to 6, and that's not a 2-point difference. And Dragon Rage getting played out to move it back like a classic fight or flight. Sivir completely tapped out. There's more than enough, and this Lee Sin gonna be taking it down. Well played. So he perhaps stays quote unquote undefeated, but chat's saying it could be 3 loss. I'll look it up again, but well played. I thought this Sivir, like I said, was gonna be able to take it home, but we are down to just one final round of today's day 1 Swiss bracket. I wonder, are we finally going to get a Draven? Because I'll give it to him. I think Riftbound did a great job today of not showing us so much other mirror match. And let's head back to the booth. Did Leroy fall asleep, chat? Oh, yeah, look at him. Guys, say a good old sayonara, good night. Leroy has taken a snooze fest.